Hello and welcome back to the Legend series here by ELC Gaming, and it is day 3 and we are awaiting Group C. Nero, good to have you here again. How are you doing? Okay, I think Nero is muted here, so just a second until we fix that. So now you're back.
Yep, so we hyped it up to be possibly the most evened out group yesterday, and I still hope that it will remain true right here. Just Gamizer versus Euronics, the first match, Impact Gaming versus Supernova. You were talking about Euronics a lot, I was talking about Supernova, that I'm going to be counting on them. We'll see. All of the teams right here can surprise us positively, and I hope that it will actually be that way.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get it starting talking about the teams. Our first game today is going to be Gamizer against Euronics Gaming. So Gamizer, a French organization. Have you heard something about them, or what do you know about this organization?
About this team, I don't know so much actually, but these guys were quite active on Twitter walking into this tournament, and they are hyping themselves up also. This is the only French team that we will get to see right here. So I have high expectations of them, because I definitely know that the French League of Legends is really strong, is on a high level, so they should prove it right here. Otherwise, if they don't, actually, I'll be disappointed that we don't get to see any other French teams, because they definitely could be looking for the LAN playoffs, or maybe even for the victory in the entire tournament.
Yeah, definitely. But the same applies for German teams. There's only one German team in our groups as well, and that's Euronics Gaming. So they will face each other, just one from each country. Euronics Gaming, on the other hand, they made a name for themselves already. So please tell us something about them.
Oh yeah, these guys, they've been around for quite a long time, and even in their player history, you can see very, very famous players who have, even if I'm not mistaken, been playing in LCS. For instance, you've got Noxiac that is around there for quite a bit of time. And overall, the German players, as you said, they are quite promising. Additionally, they're mixing in some Dutch players, and we've seen 2 Dutch teams already in this tournament, and they've proven us how good they can be. So definitely gonna be happy to see them.
Yeah, definitely. Some more information about that maybe. So Euronics Gaming, they are one of the best teams in Germany right now. They've been winning a lot of national championships so far. So definitely one of my favorites in this group to really make it out of the group stage and advancing to the offline finals. So let's get talking about that once more. What's on the line for the teams here? So we're talking about a €3,000 prize pool that is going to be divided through the teams that advance to the offline final, and also all the travel expenses are taken care of. So definitely something on the line to fight for here for these teams. But we also got 2 other teams in that group, Impact Gaming and Supernova. So please, Nero, can you tell something about those 2?
Yeah, Supernova, these guys have 2 different divisions in their League of Legends kind of team. They have red, they have blue. And both of these guys have been playing against some other Danish teams at the moment, but I'm 100% sure that I've heard about Supernova already before, and that these guys are here to fight. They're not going to go down so easily. While on the other hand, Impact Gaming, after us seeing outplayed in the Group A, there is a little bit of a sour taste remaining out there about the Italian teams. And tomorrow we get to see 2 more of them. So Impact Gaming, they're going to be that one team that decides whether tomorrow is actually going to be interesting, or whether the Italian team is not yet mature enough to take part in these kind of international tournaments.
Exactly. We mentioned it yesterday. So 4 Italian teams as a whole are in the group stage here. And Outplayed, they were known to be one of the best out of them, and they really disappointed us. So I'm also looking forward to see Impact Gaming going up against Supernova here. So that will show us the way that this group might go. For the first game, Gamizer versus Euronics, who's your favorite in that? For me, it's clearly Euronics because they have all that experience, they have all those titles in their back. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I also am expecting Euronics to actually take this game, but as I said, we have a lot of potential in this group with the Supernova, with the Gamizer, with Impact Gaming in there. It's really interesting that Outplayed was supposed to be that famous team, so we expected them to follow it up with skill. That unfortunately did not happen, but talking about Impact Gaming, I cannot find much info about them. Even on Facebook, these guys have like all right, they're a little bit bigger than I found the first site, but they're about like 800 likes out there. Still pretty unknown compared to the Outplayed. So there's this kind of unspoken rule that sometimes popular teams are only built on the popularity of some streamers. Sometimes the really good teams are the ones that are unknown. So I'm really looking forward to that happening. But yeah, back to the first match. Euronics, sure, they're going to be the favorites. Gamizer, I was talking about how French players could be strong, really strong on the international scene on League of Legends, but Gamizer is not one of those teams I would be expecting to see here, and maybe the higher up teams in France are just too busy with different tournaments to take part in this one.
Yeah, definitely. So for you viewers, I already see it going up. The bets are starting to come in here. Just to explain it a little bit to you. So you have the possibility to bet on the outcome of the games. We see that ESG is your favorite for now, going up against Gamizer here. How do you do that? So we have our own stream currency. The currency is named Betties. So you gather Betties just by watching the stream. For every minute you watch, you get a Betty, and then you can bet those Betties on the outcome of the game, and you will be rewarded with even more out of that. And at the end of the day, you will be able to purchase a ticket in order to take part in the raffle for our Firecracker Jinx. You were talking about that yesterday, so we have those nice little figurines that we're giving out, and that Firecracker Jinx definitely looks delicious. So
Yeah,
if you want to
surely
do
so.
that, yeah.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, just take part in that. You got nothing to lose. It's just virtual currency you're using there, and it's a lot of fun of betting on your team, on your favorite. And Nero was excited about that Firecracker Jinx because yesterday we were giving out a poppy. Today it's a Firecracker Jinx, and if you want to join us tomorrow again, we will also have a nice figurine. We do not know what it's gonna be, but we'll figure that out tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm surely looking forward to that. Loving that Firecracker Jinx, definitely. It's not like even a character that I like in League of Legends. It's not even a champion that I play a lot or anything, but it just looks so cute, and it's one of those skins that looks really sweet in the game itself. And talking about Jinx, we did not really get a chance to see her in the groups just yet, but seeing quite a couple of teams that like to experiment a little bit. Maybe there's a possibility that she's going to show here. Nobody knows. If we already had an AD carry Sintra, then anything's open.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get started with the game. It's just 1 minute 30 seconds to go until we will probably start with the picks and bans. We've seen two very different groups so far from the kind of play style that we're using. So in the first day, Group A, we saw a lot of Graves dominating the jungle. Yesterday it was more kind of Lee Sin and Ivern that we were looking at. So what is maybe to expect today from the teams we're watching?
It's hard to say. After all, in Group A, it was all about Gray's dominance. In Group B, it was all about like Lee Sin with that Ivern, as you mentioned. But Lee Sin is always going to be viable. He's always about that mechanic. If you're a good player, you're going to be able to make good plays with him, no matter if you're fed or not, and etc. If you're a bad player, even if you get fed, you're not really going to do so much with the Lee Sin because you're going to screw up the mechanics with jumping to the wards and all that stuff. So you're not going to get successful kicks. And about Graves and Ivern, just standard meta junglers, and it might just be the very standard thing. So we might be seeing both these styles a little bit mixed up right here. After all, nothing is overpowered, nothing is underpowered from what we've seen this far. It's just about how you can use it. Once again, going back to Group A, where we had the mid laner of Alza Ecstatus, who had 0 deaths throughout the entirety of the group, and he was playing many different champions, but the most questionable one was picking LeBlanc into a Cassiopeia, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. Yesterday, we also saw a nice working bot lane with Xayah and Rakan. So that was something nice to watch. Hopefully, we will get something like that today. Going back to Group A, we were seeing a lot of early game aggression, especially from Doran's Alpha. So those teams today, are they looking to you like more of that controlling playstyle, or could we also expect maybe one of the lesser known teams like Gamizer or Impact Gaming just trying to take that shot with some cheesy first 2-minute play or something like that?
For Gamizer, definitely it's a lot easier. Overall, for all the other teams in this group, it's going to be a little bit easier to research on Euronics. As you mentioned, these guys have been playing in the German championships over and over and over again. You can clearly see that on their website. They're in the on the run all the time. They're playing all the official matches right there. It's not really going to be hard to find the stats on that and to find out what they decided to play, etc. And they always have to give their best right there, you know. They're not really always taking the first place spot. It's not so one-sided in their favor, so they have to give their best. And Gamizer will probably know what Euronics Gaming will want to have to feel most comfortable. And that is their benefit or surprise. And some of the teams tried to use that yesterday aggressively, but you could see Esports playing around that so smoothly. When the enemy team tried going into their jungle, they just countered it with the early vision that they placed, with the support spotting them out and taking over the jungle. Now the question is, if Gamizer want to surprise aggressively like that, will ESG also react just like eSub, or will they be a little bit more passive like we saw in Group A? Which was a little bit sad, because it's very simple, but actually inside of the game it's hard to synchronize all that between the players of the team. And I think that Euronics are going to have some really good team play. Now the question is about the Gamizer. Will they also mesh together?
Yeah, and that's what we're just about to see. So the picks and bans just started, and Gamizer, they're going for that Ariana ban, so targeting the mid laner here by Euronics with the first ban. I pretty much like that Ariana ban because it's more of an aggressive ban. It just tells you, okay, you're not going to play that Orianna, so just forget about that. Euronics, on the other hand, they try to ban Lulu here. So doing it the other way around, just going for a support ban. We've seen a lot of Lulu bans yesterday, so maybe also something that will define that Group C today. And there's the Lee Sin ban we were already talking about.
All right, I see. Just taking a look at all the information that we were provided with, and the Euronics Gaming right here is they actually also have 2 squads, just like Supernova, and it's going to be the other one playing here. So I'm actually really looking forward to them surprising, because when already Euronics have one team playing in the Challenger Series qualifiers and them doing so well in the Meisterschafts, then probably this other team will also have some nice potential right there. But yeah, back to the bans, Orianna Lee Sin, Lulu Ivern, as you already mentioned. So going back to the junglers that we already discussed a little bit today, Lee Sin, Ivern going to be banned out. Graves is up in the cards still, and Kha'Zix, of course, just as he's shown up a couple of times yesterday. But we also saw a little bit of experimenting with Gragas from the Polish team.
That didn't really work out,
maybe the
though.
Zac is going to be... Yeah, that didn't really work out, but I'm thinking maybe that Zac will be picked, judging by the number of bans he got in Group B, actually. He was banned nearly all the time. Now we're going to see a Rengar ban, and I'm not sure if it's targeted at Gamizer or maybe Euronics still are afraid of this champion. But
from the information that I
in the
have
cards.
here, that definitely looks like a target, because in our little document about Gamizer, Tower the jungler from Gamizer really likes to play his Rengar. So now he's going for Elise, also a champion that we've seen quite a lot yesterday, as we've seen a lot of jungle bans coming down. Continuing today, Lee Sin, Ivan, Rengar already banned. Elise. Maybe for Euronics, still that Graves is up for the grab here. So they might go for it, but first of all, they're going to pick a Karma here just to get their bot lane going. So overall, solid picks, nothing too surprising for now.
Okay, Elise in there, of course, something that also was left out. Though I really am looking forward to people bringing out some new picks, because you can still see that it's on the bot lane. It's going to be all about the Karma, Lulu, and Zyra. With a Lulu ban, probably we're going to get to see, either Thresh or Zyra out there in the bottom lane. Though, if they actually go for that Ashe, I'm really wondering if Zyra indeed would not have been a little bit of a better pick, because you could see yesterday how well that duo meshed together. But Thresh, of course, still a pretty good champion. But no big experiments. It's going to be Tamkinch then on the other side, actually. Interestingly enough, because we've already got a Karma and Caitlyn in the bottom lane. One single time that we did get to see Tamkinch in this league was actually on the bottom lane as the support. Looking forward to what Euronics can come up with for this one.
Yeah, probably doing something like top laning Tamkench here might be a possibility. But let's get back to that Thresh once more. We've been talking about it. We wanted to see some of those hooks really changing the game, because it can be that one genius hook in a team fight just for a nice engage and grabbing out maybe the AD or AP carry there. But so far, we've not seen that working out. So I'm also wondering about why do they pick the Thresh here in combination with that Ashe? Because on the other hand, Zyra and Ashe, they have shown us that they have a nice synergy together. So Gamizer here maybe wasting some of that potential, but in the end, they know what they feel comfy with and what they want to play. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it works out for them.
All right, so just sitting through the 2 additional windows of time that we are provided with right here for the additional bans that we're not actually seeing.
Let me explain that quickly. Confused. Yeah, because we are using the 3-ban system here, but we have a 5-ban engine, so we have to wait for those 4 additional bans just running through the time. But we will always use the time to talk something about the bans and the picks we've already seen and the potential compositions here for the team. So that time is definitely not wasted.
Yep, and among the champions that we need yet to pick is definitely the mid lane. And on that mid lane, there definitely is an opening for the Syndra again, since we see already so many bans towards the mid from Gamizer. I'm surely looking forward to them having like the most comfortable pick right there just to get themselves going. While on the other side, Euronics not focusing on that anymore, or at all even. So that definitely is a possibility. The Karma is going to go middle lane right now. Aurelion Sol, alright, that's really nice. And Jace actually this far usually got banned. Finally, we're going to get to see him picked for the top lane in the lineup of Gamizer. So finally, we get to see some mixing in the picks, and not only on one side, because we had that questionable Lucian in the middle lane yesterday. Now it's actually going to be all the more screwed up in here between the 2 teams, as we get to see Aurelion Sol for the first time, Jace for the first time. It's going to be Tamkinch as the support with Karma going middle lane, and Nautilus also for the first time probably going top lane. A lot of mixing right here, and for Euronics, actually, they can still just change things around, although I believe it's going to be actually that way. Tam in the support, Karma in the middle lane, and Nautilus top lane. Possibly they could still swap Nautilus with a Tamkinch.
Probably the way they want to do it, but interestingly enough, picking 3 champions that are also able to support here, and having those hooks on the line with Nautilus might just bring us what we've been waiting for yesterday. But let's get this started. So it's Gamizer from France going up against Euronics Gaming from Germany. This is the first game today in Group C. And whoever wins that will go on to the winners match in this group. But for now, not too much early aggression here. Both teams just waiting a little bit, taking care of the jungles.
Yeah, so no aggressive invades this time around, and actually there's a little possibility if somebody makes a false move on Gamizer that usually will catch them out. The Karma is always very, very dangerous. You can not only deal a little bit of damage, slow the enemy down, you can also root them early on, which is pretty strong. I mean, when you go for that route at first, it gets you amazing amounts of healing because that's 30% of your HP, and on low level it can massively surprise. So invades with Karma can be very, very profitable, but that's not what we're seeing right here. It's just a little bit of damage done. Also the tongue lash from Tamkench, but there was no chance of stunning the enemy. And the AD carry of Gamizer isn't even falling back at all, so he's still going to be on his way to the jungle camp that he's going to help with, and then back to the lane. In the meantime, we can already see that Nautilus is having a little bit of a bad time in the top lane.
Yeah, Jay so far bullying a little bit, jumping on Nautilus again, and it's going to be difficult for him to really make his way to the minion, so he has to be careful to not fall behind too far in the CS score.
Okay, so that Karma in the middle lane definitely is going to be an important member of ESG's lineup, because if you get that Aurelion Soul going, it could be extremely, extremely dangerous. And a lot of people found that out on the World Championships, definitely. Right there, some unexpected upsets with mid laners that were not really supposed to win, with Faker even struggling against that Aurelion Soul himself. So you have to be really careful. Oh, in the meantime,
continuing on the top lane.
Yeah, he was having a little bit of trouble at first in the top lane out there. But now he comes out a little bit on top of that fight, and he is able to escape the Elise's gank, but also using up the flash. With the amount of HP he still had, I think that he might have saved it for a little bit later, for example right now, and that's going to be a first blood for Jace, and the repel saves Elise. She's going to still run away a little bit further, but Crossman, does he have this? He's still going to have another movement speed boost in just a second, but will he reach her with the range? Of course. And that's a good flash Q from him. The cocoon was also a very good idea, although the middle laner of Euronics Gaming was a little bit quicker on that one. Though still, just take a look at the amount of summoner spells that were lost right here. The teleport from Nautilus, who has to come back to lane instantly after he died, but he also used up the flash on the dive. Karma had to use the flash to catch the enemy jungler and the teleport to get there. Well, on the other hand, it was only Elise that lost her flash. Jace is doing perfectly fine, and he doesn't even use the teleport to get back to the lane. So he's got just such a good idea. In the meantime, Nautilus once again goes back to his base, so he's got to be very far behind now.
Yeah, definitely not working too well on the top lane for Euronics Gaming so far. On the bot lane, still nothing decided. Both teams still just exchanging some little punches, but here we see a first gang coming in from Gamizer. But they will not get to the AD carry. Focusing Tom Kench now, and the nice hook here by Thresh, just taking him back. But Kha'Zix is here to save the day. And so everybody will stay alive, at least for now.
Well, 1-1 in terms of kills definitely looks really close. But in my eyes, for now, Gamizer coming out a little bit on top. They have that Aurelion Soul who is left farming a little bit alone. Now is facing off against the Karma with no summoner spells in the top lane. I already mentioned how Nautilus went far behind. Because of that Jace not using the teleport, the lane was frozen underneath Jace's turret. So I'm not sure if that was actually planned out by Nautilus. So he had to go back to lane because he had, go back to base because he had nothing to do right there. And then he also didn't have the TP to come back quicker. So once again, just losing more and more of these creeps. And he's getting zoned so much right here. You can already see that hammer blows are really hard on him. Even though he's not losing a lot of HP, just losing the gold is enough. And that's the... Well, for now we don't have a huge gold disparity between the teams. But definitely Gamizer should have an idea of how to maximize that. And once again, we're going back to what I was talking about for the most part yesterday, the tempo of the game. Just wondering if either one of the other team will have some ideas about that. When the first Drake is going to be contested, it's an Ocean Drake, so it's not going to be so useful, but after all, you still have to do something in the game just for the enemy to feel the pressure. In the top lane, a little bit of a trade, and it should have been closer because of Tower already waiting there behind his Jace. But at the end of the day, that Elise has never shown up, and actually she's going to stay in the top lane. And if that doesn't work out, if they don't get the turret or don't get the kill on Nautilus, that's a lot of wasted time for the jungler, so they better be careful because Kha'Zix is also coming.
Gamizer just retreating for now. And everybody just on his way back into the jungle or to his lane. Crossman just continuing to get some creeps here.
For now in the bottom lane, we still have not seen single backs, or maybe Tamkench has gone back at least once, but all the others still holding onto their Doran's items, and it's going to be that relic shield for Thresh, so possibly the first backs, or maybe some ganks right now, as the jungler's powers will be amplified additionally out there when they show up in the bottom lane. They're going to be much stronger than the laners, also having their level 6. But that's not the case for Tower, and I was talking about how they wasted time up there in the top lane. They did not take that turret, and Elise completely lost at least a minute out there. Also Aurelion Sol coming out a little bit behind, but since he already had that big advantage, he's not going to care about it. Also for Elise, the level 6 is not such a huge power spike, so I guess that's going to be fine, especially with the top laner and mid laner showing up right here.
For the dive, under the kill, already a double kill secured for Jace. But Tamkench able to get Elise down in the meanwhile. But
the worst
very nicely played here.
Worst casualty that Gamizer could take right here. The Elise that wasted time in the top lane. The Elise that wasted time to get from the top lane. Actually, just take a look at the distance. Jace teleported. So he lost 3 seconds, while Elise had to go all the way through the map towards that bot lane. Once again, not soaking up any experience, not soaking up any gold. It's already 11 to 43 in CS right there in the jungle, which is a massacre. And then she dies also on that bot lane. It's very unlucky. After all, though, they were able to get that tower anyway. So a little bit of additional gold is on their side. But the problems for their jungler might be quite worrisome.
And look at that, actually Gamizer there in here to surprise us, because to be honest, I really thought that this could be an easy warm-up game for Euronics Gaming, but so far this looks pretty much like a very, very close game. In fact, the first tower going down here in favor of Gamizer, so this might be the interesting group that we expected it to be, and even more interesting than we really thought.
Yeah, that definitely is a thing, but also, it's Euronics Gaming with their second team. Probably if the main Euronics showed up right here, it would be quite one-sided in their favor, just like eSuba took the Group B. So that's the question, also that I asked over the past days. But for now, though, Aurelion Sol has to be really careful, though. Well, just a stun is enough to get rid of that Nautilus, who already did not have his dead dredge line, so there was no possibility to catch up. Now, back to what I said 2 days ago and yesterday. Just wondering what the LAN finals are going to be like. Is it once again just going to be some teams being much stronger than the others? And will we finally get to see an evened out group right here? if it is not the main division of Euronics Gaming, I am a little bit afraid that if one of those teams who are quite evened out in the group qualify for the LAN finals, they're not going to have a chance with the Czech teams. And that's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, probably, because so far those Czech teams really surprised us and they were so damn strong. But for now we see another fight coming in here. And the shutdown followed up by Jace. But now nice engage here, so Ash falling.
Well, Aurelion Sol is still going to be trying to catch up with the Nautilus. That was a little bit bigger of a stun, though it did not catch the enemy, and I don't think that was the greatest idea. Just send out a small ball. The guy's just right in front of you. With a flash, he's still going to be able to avoid even the biggest one, so maybe they lost a little bit on that speed, not guaranteeing themselves that kill. But they're taking care of that top turret, and you can already see that Elise has leveled up a little bit. Now the Cocoon is definitely going to be enough to guarantee a kill. It's a killing spree for Aurelion Sol, so not only did Aurelion go ahead like he was not supposed to, because now he's looking pretty strong, pretty damn strong, 3-0-1 right there. We're going to take a look at the replay in the bottom lane. That's where the shutdown happened. And Jace, yeah, indeed, had a little bit of trouble. He was even tossed straight into the Yordle snap trap again, but that was placed just a second ago, so it didn't catch him necessarily. But good thinking. Definitely good chemistry between the bottom lane players of Euronics Gaming, and I'm happy to see that, because on the rest of the map, Aurelion Sol with his third kill already, getting the turrets for Gamizer right there. Only bottom lane is down on the French side. So that is getting a little bit complicated. Still, Kha'Zix is a lot ahead, but we're not seeing the effects of that. I'm not really seeing him being pretty active. He's not really guaranteeing any kills to his teammates, so he's gotta be quick. Because if Elise is catching so many assists, if she's always assisting on taking down the turrets, now she's got some time to catch up with the CS. He's gonna start losing that advantage that he's got at the moment. So, Donarts, please show up a little bit more on that Kha'Zix right now before it's too late.
Now a second attempt here on the dragon, and this one will fall again. Okay, Gamizer here, and they're going straight on into the opponent's jungle, grabbing that Kha'Zix once more.
Alrighty then. The Kha'Zix dies, the dragon is taken. Once again, you just don't see the influence of that Euronics jungler. Great devour from Tamkinch right now to save Nautilus from potential big amounts of damage. Now Elise is not going to be able to run away too far, but the Lantern is enough to get her to safety, and also they spotted out quite a bit of wards right there, since these are on the other side of the wall in the brush. But they will not be able to take care of them, at least for now. And you can see Kha'Zix dies, there's not much that his team can do about that. Elise survives somehow by the Lantern, and she immediately goes back to the jungle. That's how he catch up with the CS a little bit. And, well, Kha'Zix will also have to do that himself. But now when he's trying to get that red buff, luckily enough, the death sentence missed. Because with that hook hitting somebody would be a very, very bad fight for ESG. For now, they have to regroup. They have to come up with some good ideas for the fight. They need to get a good engage. They have an Nautilus. They have a Tamkinch. They have a Karma. There's a lot of stuff they can do. Plus, the Kha'Zix could still bring a lot of pain. We did not see him for a very long time, but I guarantee you that when he's going to show up, he can just devour somebody in a second. It's Kha'Zix after all. But it's just a Kha'Zix that did get a lot of farm for himself, but didn't really do much. And he's still ahead in gold, as you can see. So Gamizer is ahead by 1,500, but still 300 gold more for the jungler of ESG. He just needs to somehow use it finally.
Yeah, and 15 minutes into the game, that gold lead is not that big of a difference here. So it's still evened out, and ESG, they're not out of it. So this might actually turn out to be a longer game than we've seen, because we haven't seen that 50-minute even out game so far in all of these group games. And this might be shaping up to be one of them. So another clash aligning in the mid lane, as all the team members are gathering there.
Oh well, could be pretty interesting right here. If ESG remain as passive as they are in here, could be real problematic. But it's good to notice that there is no big front line for Gamizer. They're gonna have an Elise who's always able to tank up just a little bit. The Jace isn't also gonna be so squishy. Same goes for Thresh, but there's no big tank in there. While you have an Nautilus, while you have a Tamkinch in the lineup of ESG. So it's important for Gamizer to stay pretty much ahead. If they start losing that advantage that they have, the damage might not be enough to break through the front line of ESG. Well, Tsukiyomi is trying to get away from there, and he's still gonna be caught with the Nautilus ult, but nobody can follow him other than the Kazakhs, and he jumped over the wall, but he will not be able to win the fight. Actually gets it, but right after dies. I'm really surprised with it. I was talking about how that Kazakh is still ahead over Elise, that he should have enough to win fights like these, but then you've got a Jace up against him who had 3 kills. Very early into the game, he was punishing the Nautilus in the top lane. So yeah, it was quite even. It's not like only Kazakhs was ahead in this situation, but man, quite an interesting fight, wasn't it? Now, with the Rift Herald taken, the first turret in the middle falls, and it's becoming a little bit more problematic for ESG because they commit 3 people into the bottom lane to take care of just 1 top laner, and they're not even able to kill him cleanly. Great escape from Tsukiyomi, huge idea with the flash into the explosive plant, and just leaving 1 enemy up against himself, maximizing his chances of still getting something out of there, and there even was a chance for him not to die. Now the 18th minute, so the Rift Herald was taken just a while ago, but already we'll be witnessing the respawn of the Baron Nashor real soon. Now Tsukiyomi does not have that flash anymore, but Donards once again is having some problems! Once again he gets killed! And I thought, after seeing that bit of lifesteal after getting the kill, of course you get that 5% back, but thought that maybe Jace is still able to battle the Nautilus, who does not have a lot of damage himself. Now Aurelion Sol maybe a little bit overzealous in here, but still manages to get away with Dark Passage. And yeah, Thresh seems pretty useful on their team. He's not getting some huge death sentences, changing the game like we said we wanted to see yesterday, but he's doing his job as a support, and this far saving his teammates' lives at least 2 good times, because there was this one time Elise was caught by 3 people. Great Lantern. Now Aurelion Sol just gets a little bit cocky. He once again saves him with a Lantern. He's always there for his team. Now the dragon becomes a little bit of a focus target. Okay, Jace is going to take that Lantern, but it might not have been the best idea. Good Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming in from the flank, and that Ashe is going to have some free damage on the enemies. Finally, the Kazakhs jumps in, but only to kill the Thresh, and that's the only casualty on the side of the blue team. Gamizer are dominating this fight, and the stun hits just barely, but it hits the Karma, and without the mid laner, without everybody else but the support, with the entirety of the team down, with the Baron respawning in 3 seconds, it's actually going to be a call from Gamizer. Not too sure if it is a good idea. I already mentioned that they don't really have a front line. Not sure who's going to tank that, since Tsukiyomi does not have HP. Sabe goes for the mid laner, and they're going for it. So, good luck Okay. Will get out of there alive. The spider's not really tanking it too carefully for Elise, but she's also going to make it out of there. And the quick recalls, and Gamizer's got it. One good team fight was enough to get the Baron for them, and they were already leading the game, but not massively. Everything was still close. Now, they have a chance to demolish ESG, and the question is, what are they going to take with the Baron? Because at this stage, the game is not really yet advanced so much. It's the 20th minute only. They've taken out all the outer turrets, so I'm not really expecting them to take like an inhibitor, but they definitely have to take out another layer of turrets. 3 to 4 towers is going to be fine. But instead, for now, just the Ocean Drake falls. Not necessarily sure if it's a good idea, the Ocean Drake being one of the least valuable in the game at the moment. Plus, they're wasting the time that they could start pushing turrets in. Thresh is going to be pulling the enemies back a little bit more. Ah, the Shock Blast misses. That could have killed Kha'Zix actually. And I think that possibly Thresh could be dying in a moment. And yeah, he is already gone. But then the top lane is a little bit open. There's only a Karma left out there. They're opening up the entirety of the map. With Tahm Kench's ult, might be quite okay. But the Tahm Kench ult is already down. So only Nautilus was able to TP to the middle. So still no turrets taken out really. Gamizer only took the top turret in the meantime. And for me, that's not enough. So 4 kills of a difference. In terms of kills, it doesn't really show. And 3,500 gold is still not a massacre. It's not so much. But I feel like Gamizer just have the grasp of the game and they're not going to let go. These guys are just going to be ahead so much. So the push should be on with the inner turret down in the top lane already. Mid lane, it seems to be the main focus. Though, we could already see Gamizer group up in the bottom lane a couple of times. So, that turret could also be chipped away real shortly. Right here, the Rift Herald's been, so that already lost a lot of HP. So they have some openings. They could go wherever they want. And Aurelius Sol is still split pushing the top lane. And nobody's going to go up against him. I think that Banner will have his ultimate back in just a second. For Nautilus, of course, the TP is going to be down for a very long time. Say he goes for Karma. But it is going to be hard. Even if the Tahm Kench's journey takes 2 people. Not sure who's going to match up against that Aurelion Sol. Anyway, though, Jay should be the biggest problem right now. But he's staying alongside with the team. And for me, that might not be the greatest idea, although they find some kills for themselves. The stun comes through from the Aurelion Sol. It's so big, but it doesn't hit anybody. But it doesn't need to. The turret is down. That's what matters. The game slows down yet again. I feel like Gamizer are not confident enough just yet, and in some of the fights it could have been a little bit close, but I don't really think that in a straight 5v5 fight ESG really would stand such a big chance. This far, Gamizer are really good at isolating the targets and just hitting the most important ones. That fight before they took the Baron is the best example. Looked not so bad for ESG. But Kha'Zix jumping in to finish off the targets and to take care of the AD carry actually proved to be a very, very bad idea. And with Kha'Zix being pretty much the most useful character on the team and him not being able to do anything, that's bad. That's bad. So ESG are trying to soak up as much farm as possible on their AD carry. Still, Kha'Zix is ahead in terms of that farm in the jungle, which matters a lot. It's a lot of gold. but that might also be the reason why the difference is gold is just 6,000 at the moment instead of like 7 to 8. But the main point of me talking about Gamizer taking it slow is that with the Baron, they didn't take much. It was only the top turret going down. And the middle was taken after the Barons expired. But even if we count that second turret, it's still not enough when you take a Baron buff at the 20th minute into the game, when you dominate the fights, and you're only able to take 1 or 2 turrets. It's not enough, but it is apparently going to be enough, because ESG still, even though their enemies don't use all they've got, ESG just seem completely lost in here, without an idea of what to really do to turn it all around. It seems like they are trying to defend their outer structures as much as possible, but these structures still fall. They are, after all, helpless in a 5v5 fight, even with the help of the turrets, and right now, they're all in the bottom lane, while mid is being taken by Gamizer. Great push, the minions are always gonna be there for a moment, while in the meantime, they can just take care of the bottom, so... they don't even have to split push. They can just go as a 5, and then the enemies follow as a 5, but it still isn't enough. They're still gonna get wrecked now. The power on towards the Karma. It's a very important one, because she could have been dead in no time. With Jace being out there, with Ashe following it up. And you could already see what Ashe could do, and she was not focused by anybody in that team fight around the 20 minutes mark. So the traps are being eaten right here by Gamizer, and they actually lose a little bit of health off of that, but the redemption should be enough to heal them, but it is not, and now the Kazakhs has the isolated Ashe, and that's going to be a good team fight for ESG. That's a good try. Right now, the Aurelion Sol is already dead, and it only is down to Jace and Elise, but Jace is the biggest threat right here, although he's low on mana, so he's got to really be careful. The Karma also doesn't have a lot of mana right here. I have no idea how that team fight, after so much time on inactivity between the both teams, that team fight begins with everybody being low on their resources, but tons of spells burns, 3 for 3 at the end of the day, and ESG showing that they still got the strength to fight. So in my opinion, they're not doing so bad. And now with the third Ocean Drake taken up, the last one is going to be Cloud Drake, so Gamizer are not really going to profit off the dragons taken by them in this matchup. But anyway, third Ocean Drake, that still is going to bring them a lot of that, a lot of the regen. And looking at the previous team fight, everybody was low on mana. That's not going to happen for them anymore, I guess. And still, I wanted to say a little while earlier that it's not so worth it to take the dragons. If they could take the Baron buff, instead they should have pushed the turrets, and that still remains true. They should have pushed the turrets, but I believe that the game is not going to last long enough for them to be able to use the advantage of taking the Elder Drake. But now it becomes very, very realistic, because it's the 29th minute already. Next up's going to be the last Drake. It's going to be the Cloud Drake, and it doesn't seem like Gamizer are close to closing out the game just yet. These guys are still struggling a little bit. And that's what saddens me too, because that's what we'd seen in Group A in the losers matches. That these teams that had potential but couldn't actually win, they built up some even bigger advantages for themselves, but they weren't able to close out the games. And that way you're never going to win against a better team. Now here, Skiami's completely caught out. The GA's popped. He's dead. But at the same time, Tamkej gets caught out. And theoretically, it's just a support going down, but when Gamizer is so much stronger, just a 4-on-4 still favors them a lot. And just remember how many times Pandar was able to save one of his teammates from death already. All the time he was just behind Crossman to always help him. And without that, could be a little shame. Now, good, your little snap traps from Big Fat right here. That's going to probably guarantee them that turrets, unless they don't have enough damage to bring it down. But they're going to try. The minion hook is not going to help a lot. Some more traps out there so that they cut off any roads of chasing for the enemy team. The wave of minions already comes, actually. That trolls the Thresher a little bit, but he's still going to get a great play towards 3 members of the enemy team. Double kill for Arena Solly. He still wants to catch the last one. He doesn't care about that Nautilus at all. He's going to get finished off by the rest of the team. Tsukuyomi's already respawned. He teleports, goes in with the home guards. And now the Thunder's ultimate seems so horrible. He's so low already. And he will die, giving the enemy team an ace. He thought that he could still salvage the situation. He thought that he could possibly save that one man that was running away. They're already leaving the game. They are fully aware of what's happened. These guys have lost. So, we're not going to see the Elder Drake. And I'm still kind of disappointed with the Baron from Gamizer. But at the end of the day, they've just proven their best. They've just proven that they are the better team right here and dominated ESG. After all, it's it hasn't even reached the 10,000 gold difference like it did in many games yesterday, and we still could say that it was pretty evened out no matter what we saw right here compared to the one-sided games that were in Group A and Group B. But at the end of the day, ESG not stepping it up to the challenge. And the jungler, he was doing very, very well in terms of the farm, but the farm is not everything. There was no pressure from him. So in my eyes, that Kha'Zix was for the 90% of the game useless. One time, he jumped right at the good targets. It was a fight in the bottom lane around the 27th minute. He did very well right there, and you could see how impactful he could have been, but he was just not using it throughout the rest of the game.